Welcome to the future of storytelling, where the world of media comes together to ignite ideas and drive innovation. Every corner of the industry, all connected, all here. The forces reshaping media, colliding, accelerating, transforming. Content creators, leagues, teams, broadcasters, streamers. This is where major brands take center stage, where strategy meets investment, where real business gets done. For over 100 years, NAB Show has been driving what's next. This year, what's next is now.
Please welcome Executive Vice President, Corporate Strategy and Development for Cumulus Media, President of Westwood One, and NAB Joint Board Chair, Colin Jones.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 NAB Show. It's incredible to see this global community gathered here. Creators, engineers, executives, and storytellers from around the world. At its core, NAB Show is about storytelling, and more importantly, how storytelling is changing. This is where you see what's working, what's next, and what's possible. Where new tools meet real-world applications, where ideas get tested, refined, and put into action. And broadcasters are central to all of it. You deliver the information people depend on. You create the moments audiences remember, and you do it every day in communities across the country. That's why this gathering matters, because this is where the industry comes together to move forward, to share ideas, challenge assumptions, and figure out what comes next. We have a fantastic program ahead today. There's no better person to kick us off than our NAB President and CEO. He champions broadcasters every day on Capitol Hill, at the FCC, and beyond. And his leadership is something this entire industry is grateful for. Please welcome Curtis Legit.
Thank you, Colin, for the introduction and for your leadership. And welcome to the 2026 NAB Show. Take a moment and look around this room. Creators, storytellers, and innovators, people from across the media industry and from around the world. This year, we will welcome more than 60,000 attendees from over 160 countries, all here to connect, collaborate, and move our industry forward. There is nothing else like this gathering. NAB Show is the one place where the entire media ecosystem comes together. It's a chance to see where this business is going, to discover the tools and technologies impacting how content is created, distributed, and experienced, from AI to streaming, sports, and the creator economy. And it's a chance to turn ideas into action with new partnerships and new ways to grow. With more than 1,000 exhibitors, hundreds of sessions, and voices from across this industry, this is where the full picture comes into focus. And you will see that everywhere you go this week. On the show floor, where new tools are moving from concept to real-world use across production, post, and distribution. In the AI Innovation Pavilions, where you can see how artificial intelligence is already transforming workflows across the industry. In the Creator Lab, where ideas take shape from short-form content to full-scale productions. And in the expanded Sports Summit, where we're bringing together leaders who are actively shaping the future of sports rights, partnership, and fan engagement. All of this is designed to do one thing: help you see what's working now and apply it to your businesses right away. Across every format, live and on demand, global and local, accessed on your phone or on the big screen, this is a moment of real opportunity to reach audiences and to build a thriving future. And you can see that energy take shape across this industry. In the creators experimenting with new formats and voices, in the technologists building tools that expand what's possible, in the companies finding new ways to connect with consumers, wherever they are, and in the broadcasters, reaching communities across the country with trusted information and shared experience. At the same time, this moment comes with real challenges. The pace of change is relentless. Business models are shifting and competition is coming from every direction. And that's why this show is so important. Here, we create an environment where innovation can thrive, where creators and technology leaders have the ability to compete, grow, and reach new audiences. And it's already happening. Creators can build and scale their own businesses. Cloud-based tools are enabling real-time production and collaboration across teams and across continents. And next-generation distribution platforms are opening up new revenue streams. Of course, no one can do this alone, and that's why we're here. That's the advantage of this ecosystem, all of us working, building, and pushing each other forward. And importantly, as we approach our nation's 250th anniversary, this feels especially critical because the stories we tell don't just reflect who we are, they allow us to understand where we've been and shape who we become. Let's take a look at the power of that storytelling.
Before there were signals, before there were screens, there were stories. Stories told by candlelight, passed down through generations. Stories that help define a nation. For 250 years, America has been shaped by the stories we share. Stories of courage, of struggle, of triumph. And as the world changed, the way we told those stories changed too. From voices carried across the airwaves, to images that brought history into our homes, to stories that now live everywhere, on every screen, every platform. And behind every evolution is a moment of connection, a place where storytellers come together to shape what comes next. That place is NAB Show, where broadcasters, creators, and innovators unite and collaboration begins. Here, connections turn into creation. Innovation opens new possibilities. From breakthrough technologies to visionary ideas, NAB Show is where storytelling evolves. Because the story of America, 250 years in the making, is still being written. And the storytellers shaping its future are here.
Our story, 250 years in the making, is exactly what brings us here. And it's driving everything we build next. And there's no one who brings that together better than the person who leads this show. Karen Shupka is revolutionizing NAB Show and expanding the community that gathers here each year. As this show continues to evolve, her leadership as Executive Vice President of Global Connections and Events is ensuring that this remains the place where people come together to connect, collaborate, and move forward. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Karen Shupka.
Well, good morning, everybody. Walking the show floor, you can't help but be amazed by the innovation, technology, and the community that makes this entire industry run. But all of it exists for one reason, and that's to bring stories to life at scale. And the real magic happens when those tools are in the hands of someone who knows how to turn them into moments that bring millions of people together. If you've watched television in the last decade, you've seen Jesse Collins' work. From the Emmys and the American Music Awards to BET Awards, the Super Bowl halftime show, some of the most watched, most talked about moments in live television all share one thing in common, and that's Jesse Collins. Through his company, Jesse Collins Entertainment, he has produced everything from the Grammys to landmark specials and hit series across scripted and unscripted, helping to define how audiences experience live entertainment today. Jessie is an award winner, an Emmy Award winner, who has built a reputation for turning live broadcasts into cultural moments, the kind that stop people in their tracks and get everyone talking about it the next morning. And in a media landscape that's changing by the minute, he sits at a fascinating intersection: live television, music, culture, and the relentless drive to create something that people won't forget. Guiding that conversation today is Carolyn Giardina, veteran entertainment and technology journalist and one of the industry's leaders in covering the arts and science of this industry. Please join me in welcoming Jessie Collins and Carolyn Giardina to the stage.
That right? We nailed walking out.
We got walking out.
Amazing.
Welcome, Jessie. Thanks so much for being at NAB.
Thank you. I'm excited and terrified.
So you've produced so many of television's most memorable and iconic moments in music entertainment. But a big part of what producing is all about for you, and I'm quoting an interview you did for the PGA here, is create moments not only for the viewer, but for the artists, for everyone, because these are the things that we all carry with ourselves. It was in connection to Drake's first Grammy performance, but,
right.
But that concept is so great. Would you elaborate on that and what that means to you?
Well, it just means that everybody, including the artists, are people, and so that's who we need to make happy if we're creating television, creating entertainment. It's for everybody there, everybody that participates, everybody that views. Like, if you can come up with something that is collectively loved, then you've created a moment.
Well, one of those moments was recent. We have a clip from Lauryn Hill's tribute to D'Angelo and Roberta Flack from this year's Grammys. Would you like to introduce the clip?
This is a clip of Lauryn Hill paying tribute to Roberta
we'll talk about it.
and D'Angelo on the
We'll talk about it
past
afterwards.
Grammys. Yes.
Okay. Can we roll the clip, please?
Thank you. Thank you.
Such an amazing performance. You know, obviously, a lot of performers, a lot of moving parts. Take us behind that scene.
I mean, it was a challenging performance. It was Miss Hill had a vision of how she wanted to lead the tribute to both D'Angelo and Roberta Flack, and you know, the whole Grammy team was trying to figure out how to make all of that happen. And you know, we wound up we just tried to keep it as fun as possible. It started out, it was supposed to be 6 minutes. It was probably 12 or 13 by the time we were done.
I don't think anyone minded.
No, we just had to go with it. That performance had more, just to go into a little bit of the technical weeds, it had more audio inputs than any other performance in Grammy history. Mike Abbott, I don't know if he's here, but he, if the number's 30, we got to like 45. There was something called a phantom input or an output. I don't know. This is where we're disasters on the technical teams of these shows as producers, because we just say, you'll figure it out. Yeah, let's have more keyboards and more drum kits and more singers, and it'll all be fine. And people like Mike Abbott on the Grammy team made that happen.
What excites you about bringing these massive entertainment events live to?
I think it's such an adrenaline rush. You're creating something that you feel like is never going to be forgotten. You're making dreams come true of the artists and everyone involved. Everyone gets behind it and realizes that this is an opportunity to cut through and do something special. So you just want to be a part of it.
In addition to that one, are there any other, I mean, you have so many, is there another special moment that you'd like to tell us about that you remember?
Listen, there's been just great, I'm blanking, but I mean, look, the Super Bowls have been amazing, the Emmys have been amazing. I think they've, all the Grammy shows, BET Awards, like all of those shows, we've managed to, been fortunate enough to create some content that still people talk about to this day, and I'm just honored and grateful to be a part of it in any way.
Well, since we're at NAB, obviously the technology that's used to produce and to broadcast these shows is changing rapidly. How is technology changing your work right now?
I think, look, technology is doing things that can't be done, like the Lauryn Hill tribute there. There was 10 or 15 years ago, I don't know if we could have got that many live instruments in a live show like that. But somehow Mike Abbott and the team were able to do that through advances in audio technology. We're able to use cinematic lenses now in live sports events. The people at Funicular Goats, the things that they're doing allows us to, change the way that we shoot these performances. I mean, technology is everywhere, and it's when used properly, it helps make the content better.
Tell us a little bit about the prep process when you're planning these shows, like, the clip we just saw, like planning to use all those microphones. What's involved in prep and testing? And
it's, for whatever reason, these types of things really don't come together until the last 2 to 3 weeks. We talk about it loosely for months, but it's that last. We probably added most of that stuff the week leading up to the show.
Wow.
So it's just a lot of over communication with the production teams to make sure that we're all, that nothing's falling through the cracks.
And what is the communication like in that period with the artists themselves?
With Ms. Hill, it was group text. It was very much like, I can't, sure, please, I'll try. We'll get what we can get. Like, we just kind of work our way through it. But it is, and it's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of texting, it's a lot of emails, it's just a lot of human interaction to make that happen.
Well, you have an audience of broadcasters and vendors and great engineers here. Do you have a wish list? Is there anything that you would like to be able to do and you'd like to see them develop?
So I knew this was coming, and so I asked a couple of people what John Wehage, who's our head of production, he's out here somewhere. He wants everything cheaper, and he feels like he understands new products on golf courses or at Dodger games more than in offices. So if we could make that happen for John, that would be great. And then this is technical, but one of our directors that we work with a lot, Alex Rudensky, really loves the cinema-style capture for live broadcasts is increasing and costs are, I'm reading the text because I don't want to mess this up. Costs are reducing as more vendors come into marketplace. Goats are definitely a leader in the US and working closely with Sony. ARRI also offers live option cinema cameras with dynamic range. He just basically goes on and on and on with a lot of tech stuff, so you should call him. But basically, just how do we get more cinema lenses into live television is something that definitely he is looking for, and just more drones in live television that can record. And for me, and this is just because this is, I guess, the room to bring it up in,
Yep.
When you do a halftime show, you have a limited amount of time to get something on and off. Like on the Super Bowl, it's about 8 minutes to get everything in. And from a technical standpoint, it's transitioning from the broadcast game truck to a whole new truck. So there's a terrifying moment leading into that last, they call it the point of no return, that last minute when they've given us the broadcast and there's no turning back. And you hear the director going, tally 1, tally 2, tally 3. That's all the cameras. And so it's terrifying that, like, sometimes cameras 5 through 8 aren't connecting. And then they're working through it and working through it and working through it. And fortunately, it's always worked out. So I don't know if someone would ever create something where the beginning of the game, beginning of the event, everybody's dialed in. I don't know if that's a massive truck with an entertainment side and a live broadcast sports side, but if you take a halftime show, you have your game cameras, and then you've got an additional, let's say, 12 cameras. If they were all dialed in at the top, it would take a lot of that anxiety away in the transition, and it would give us more time for entertainment, because now maybe that 8 becomes 6, and now that performance can go from 12 to 14 because we will have more time.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Okay.
So that's,
Great.
you know, there's somebody in this room that could figure that out.
I'm sure there is. And then also, we're seeing more of these live performances on streaming, more fan engagement online. How are these areas changing the way you think about your work?
I think for us, whether it's streaming or on broadcasts, our job remains the same, to just create entertainment that people will love regardless of the path. Now it's blending. There's eventually I think some places are going to do broadcast and linear at the same time. Like, all of these things are constantly evolving. So for us as producers, I think it's focusing on just making sure that it's good.
Okay. Obviously, one of the big topics here is, like every tech conference, is artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. Is this something you're using at all in your own work at this point?
So yeah, people use AI to create visions of what they hope to accomplish live. Mm-hmm. You'll see videos, you'll see decks. I think AI is getting into previses, but that's as far as I've seen it. Because at the end of the day, an artist is going to be an artist. Beyonce is Beyonce. People want to see Beyonce. And especially in live television, that's what people want that. So I haven't seen it really creep into the final product that is given to the consumer.
Right. Do you have thoughts on where AI is heading?
Well, I hope it stays a useful tool. I hope it stays in the toolkit, because at the end of the day, people want to be entertained. They want it to be real. You know, I have a daughter, she's in college, and she's very, like, when she sees things on social media, she's like, oh, that's AI, I'm not watching that. Mm-hmm. There's like a negative reaction to that. I think people, I hope people continue to want to see real entertainment. You know, I hope that people will always want to see a real person performing for them on the Grammys or BET Awards or any show. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, that's the thing. You're on the edge of your seat. You're like, I can't believe Adele hit that note. You know, you need to be, you're impressed by what someone can do. Like, no one wants to see AI Michael Jordan or LeBron or Kobe. It's like, what's impressive is them. You know, and that storytelling of the human spirit, it's like you watch NASCAR. I watch a lot of NASCAR races, and it's because of the stories. And you see these guys putting it on the line, going around the track. You know, I don't want an AI Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch going at it. I want to see the real guys going at it. So.
Well. And I think we all agree with you, yes. And what excites you about, I mean, obviously you do a lot of music, you do a lot of sports. What excites you about working with these artists, these athletes?
I think it's there's an enthusiasm to help them reach whatever their creative goal is. Because if they get there, generally it's going to be something that everyone loves, and you're just like a part of the energy. And artists generally have a vision, and if you can be a part of that vision to help make that happen, the watershed is that everyone wins.
Who are some of your favorite artists to work with? Because I know some you've worked with on numerous shows over the years.
I mean, listen, I don't have anybody that. I really enjoyed working with everybody, getting them through, my Stevie Wonder is one of my fandom favorites. He's very funny. He's very humble. He likes to FaceTime, which is, it's just entertaining in itself. And he thinks that's hysterical. It really is like a FaceTime that pops up. And he's like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Looking at you." So, it's been great working with everybody.
Where do some of the ideas come from? What influences you when you're planning these?
I think if it's music, you start with the music. So what's the story they're trying to tell, either in the song, or what is the message they're trying to tell as an artist, if it's a collective, like a medley or a halftime show or something like that. And then it's really spending time with the artists and or their creative team and figuring out what's the best way to communicate that vision. Because there's never enough time. Whether it's 4 minutes or 12 minutes or 15 minutes is always like something that gets cut, which generally makes it better. It's like, get it perfect and then, I forgot who said, get it perfect and then cut 10 pages. Get it perfect and cut 20 seconds. Cut something, because that's what makes people want a little more, and it makes you really work harder to make sure that if you only have 8 minutes, you maximize it. By the way, this is terrible that I'm saying this, because if there's people in here from the networks that are always yelling at me about time, it makes it feel like I understand making things shorter, which I usually play like I have no idea what they're talking about. Why can't, we just went through this with iHeart at Fox, we were running long, and I was like, but it's gonna be great. Why just push the news, it'll be fine. So it's always a tug and pull and tug.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of us that would like to see what else was there.
Oh yeah, no.
I would, so.
But you got local news, man. Can't mess with local news.
Okay, we're going to go into this area again. Here we are at NAB. What are your thoughts on the future of broadcasting, of producing and broadcasting these big live events? Is there a call to action, or what are you seeing in the future?
I think it's great because it seems like it's growing. More and more people want that live experience, whether it's sports or music or anything. You're seeing live and dating shows. You're seeing live. We just did a live competition show for Netflix, Star Search. It's people. I think it's growing. I think people want that storytelling, and because it's also real. It's not fixable. Whatever happens is whatever happens. So I'm excited about it. I like that people are responding to that, because I remember when people said, tent poles were not the thing. And now it feels like they are a really important part of the ecosystem. And on broadcast television as well.
You're involved in, so many different areas right now. Can you give us a little bit of a teaser of some of the projects that you have coming up?
Oh, sure. We have BET Awards coming up in June, and we have we're going to be doing some really great stuff with Major League Baseball for the upcoming All-Star game, which will be in Philly this year. So it's going to be a big moment. And then we are doing the Macy's 4th of July special for NBC this year. So those are just a couple of the live things that we're excited about.
And you mentioned this Netflix project as well.
It just aired.
Just aired,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was a reboot of Star Search, which was the competition show a long time ago. pre-American Idol and all the Voice and all those things. So that just aired a couple, it was in February, January, February. Just the point that like live is, everybody's trying to figure it out and get more and more things live. Like I don't know the name of the show, we're not involved, but I heard about a dating show that's gonna have like live eliminate, like the audience is gonna vote on like which couple should be with who or whatever, like, you know, really important stuff that we're, that was getting solved.
And what do you think about as far as the future of music entertainment? Because it seems like there's just so many opportunities right now that you're.
I think it's all bright. I think artists are getting more and more interesting. They're able to do things that in different ways. You look at like what Justin Bieber just did at Coachella. You know, no one's ever closed Coachella with that type of creative before, and it ignited the world. You know, that was a vision that obviously he had, and Coachella and YouTube gave him that platform, and people are still talking about it. I know he just did it again this weekend, but the point is that like only an honest live music performance can generate that type of energy and enthusiasm. So you look at like what Coachella is doing with their live stream, and it's massive, and it's all music.
Okay. So the future is bright.
Yes, like the song says, wearing shades, man. That's what it is.
Okay. Please join me in thanking Jesse.
Yep. Thank you. That's it?
I think so.
Oh my God, I survived. This is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse and Carolyn. Let's give them another round of applause. And now we have the privilege of honoring the very best of what this industry represents. The NAB Spirit of Broadcasting Award is a special honor we reserve for moments like this, recognizing individuals or organizations who've made a lasting and distinctive impact on broadcasting. 25 years ago, a new kind of television captured audiences and changed the conversation around unscripted storytelling. A group of strangers, a remote location, one simple premise: outwit, outplay, outlast. Nobody knew what would happen. Nobody could have predicted what it would become. Survivor did not just build a franchise, it launched an era. It helped define modern reality television and proved that unscripted storytelling could be just as gripping, emotional, and unforgettable as anything Hollywood could write, captivating audiences around the world. 50 seasons, 25 years, and somehow the conversation is just as strong today as it was in the summer of 2000. It's a testament to CBS and Paramount's commitment to bold, enduring programming, and to host Jeff Probst, whose passion for this show and whose voice has guided every tribal council, every blindside, and every torch snuffing along the way. Let's take a look. Simply incredible. For its extraordinary contribution to broadcasting and for 50 seasons of proving that great storytelling never gets old, we are so pleased to present the Spirit of Broadcasting Award to Survivor. Here to accept the award on behalf of Survivor is Jeff Probst, live from Fiji. And joining us here in person is a true Survivor legend whose 5-season journey includes Panama, Micronesia, Heroes vs. Villains, Game Changers, and now the milestone Survivor 50. Please welcome Cirie Fields. And also joining Cirie on stage is CBS Executive Vice President of Alternative Programming, Mitch Graham. Thank you both. Let's get in there. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, we're going to go right here. We're going to put this right in the middle to show it off. And we've got Jeff wired in here remotely. Jeff, can you hear us? So we don't have Jeff's audio right now, which I'm hoping we can fine tune quickly. You look amazing.
We know what that means. Aw, say.
Excellent.
Hey, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, good.
We were about 10 seconds from moving to Plan B, which I didn't want to move to, so I feel a lot better about this. Let me just say here, and everyone in the audience can appreciate this. It's a little intimidating here hosting this chat with the two of you because Jeff is arguably the greatest interviewer in television history. And when you look at what has underpinned this show, it's his ability to really draw out the stories for all of the participants. Cirie, you've been right in the middle of it. So it's just such an absolute honor to have the opportunity to sit down with both of you and to celebrate Survivor. But before we jump into all of that, I've got to seize the moment here. I've had texts from friends over the last couple of days who knew we were doing this. They're in Survivor pools. And so I want you to right now look at me, blink twice if you win this season.
Don't do it, Cirie. Don't do it.
Never, Jeff.
All
I would
right.
never.
I thought we would just end it right there if we could get a good reveal, and that would make the headlines for the day. But look, I'd love for you to just take us back here. It's the year 2000, and Jeff, you're catching wind of the fact that Mark Burnett, the original producer of Survivor, is working on this first of its kind competitive reality TV show. Is this something that for you is an opportunity, or does this strike you as something that's a little bit crazy and you want to do your best to avoid?
Curtis, it's crazy because at that point in my career, I had worked at FX, which originally was a live network in New York at 26th and 5th. So you're just broadcasting live all day. And I was working with VH1 on Rock and Roll Jeopardy, but I had not found anything that I could really sink my teeth into. And I was in a stage of my career where I was getting offers, but they were for dating shows and things that I just wasn't connecting to. So when I heard Mark Burnett, I was driving on the 405, listening to the Jonathan Brandmeier radio show, and he was on. He goes, well, I've got this thing. I'm going to put 16 people on an island, force them to live together while voting each other out. I'm not exaggerating when I say from that moment forward, I have wanted to be a part of Survivor, and I went after it with everything I could. I tried everything I could to get their attention, and when I finally got the job, I was so excited. And Curtis, the crazy part, Cirie can attest to this, my enthusiasm is the same today. I love being a part of making Survivor.
Well, it shows through here to Las Vegas, and so no hesitation. Right from the go, you hear the concept, and you're all in, but I'm sure you still had some questions as to whether the audiences would be all in.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, as you look back, what was that moment where it really hit you, how this show transformed from just a creative idea that was a great project for you to embrace at that point in your career to the type of just captivating worldwide audience phenomenon that it became? When did that first hit you that you were on that trajectory?
There's a couple of moments, and they both involve Richard Hatch. The first one, Richard Hatch is the first person to win Survivor, and he was notorious because of how he carried himself, and he wanted to be naked all the time because he wanted to make people feel uncomfortable. He very quickly understood, if I can disrupt the dynamics here, I might be able to control it. But in the first 20 minutes of the very first day of shooting the very first season, his tribe is on a beach, and Richard gets up into a tree, like in an elevated position above everybody else. And he keeps looking down as they're all gathering supplies and wood and pieces of bamboo. And he keeps saying over and over, I think we need to talk first. Hey, I think we need to talk first. And finally, Sue Hawk, this truck driver, walks underneath him and looks up and says, where I'm from, Richard, we work while we talk. And that was, all of us realized that's the show. Where I'm from, This is how I do it. How are we going to work together? That was the first one. The second one, though, was that finale was watched by 72 million people. Season 2 is going to premiere after the Super Bowl. So CBS asks me to go to the Super Bowl with Richard Hatch. Nobody knows me. But every 2 steps we took, somebody yelled Richard's name. And I still kind of viscerally can remember going, what is happening? Everyone in this stadium knows this guy. So that for me was when I realized it's not just a sociological impact, it's also this popular thing.
So obviously at that moment, you see where the show's going, but now, 25 years in the making, I'm sure that you look back, the show has evolved tremendously, and you say, okay, there were some things that we did really right in that first season, and that's why it became the phenomenon, and it was launched the way it did, but also some things that I'm sure you look back and say, what the heck were we thinking when we tried that? As you look back at season 1, what are the 1 or 2 things that really stick out to you as things that you tried, and you very quickly moved away from them because you felt like they didn't quite fit the vision for the show?
Well, it's interesting. When you first asked the question, I had a different take. So I'm going to go with that. This is what I think we got right out of the gate, was that this was a story of humans. And it was cleverly disguised in a game, but it was really about humans, really the reference I just gave. And for me, I remember very clearly thinking, this is Joseph Campbell all the way. This is every person that plays this game is taking their own mythological journey. Cirie's done it many times, and if you're a fan of Survivor, you know you're nodding right now because we've watched Cirie transform from a woman who 20-some years ago said, let me get up off the couch and see who I'm made of, to becoming a person that everybody wants to be like because of this adventure. But so I think we got that right. Where I don't think we realized early on, the early seasons of Survivor were steeped in conflict, and it worked. And this can be a format that you can just put conflict, put person A with person B, red versus blue, whatever you want to call it. What we didn't really get early was this doesn't have to be only about conflict. It can be about resilience and courage and transformation. And in that sense, where we missed, Curtis, was this was always a multi-generational family show. And that's what we've gotten right in the last 15 years.
Well, and this is one of the things that I think is tremendous about the arc of the show, and you referenced the last 15 years. For the audience here, for the first 10 years of the show, roughly, you were the host, and then your role expands in 2010. You become the executive producer, the showrunner, so now you're in the place of really having a 360-degree view of this entire this entire plot line, effectively, recognizing it's not a scripted plot line. When you step into that role, having had those 10 years of context as the host, any directional changes that you make to really reposition the show to fit some of those lessons learned and what you saw as the strengths on a go-forward basis?
Yeah, when Mark gave me the reins, he basically said, it's your show. And I trusted him that he meant do what you think you should do. And so for me, it was really 3 things. It was, we're now going to lean into Joseph Campbell because we weren't before. I saw it that way, but we didn't, as a show, really tell the stories that way. 2, we were going to make an already cinematic show more cinematic. And we've done that. We have elevated the cinematic experience through our cameras and our microphones in a way that the intention is to fully immerse the audience as much as you can with the disconnect of a screen to say, this is what it's like to wake up after a storm and look at your fingers, and then you hear a whisper over that person's shoulder, and you realize between a camera and a microphone, we're taking you inside their world. And then the third was, what I referenced earlier was, I always wanted this to be a family show because for me, the magical part of Survivor is the 8-year-old who I meet who says, I'm going to be on your show one day. And I say, do you think you could do it? Do you think you could make fire? And they're, absolutely, I'm in my backyard all the time. What's crazy, Curtis, is I'm old enough now, we've been on long enough that we have people who were little kids that are now on the show.
Cirie, I want to bring you into this conversation as well because you've really been in the center of this evolution. You were, your first season on the show, I believe, was 2006. And it is incredible the fact that in these different stages of your life, spread out first 2-year increments, then another, 6 or 7 years later, you're back on the show. Another several years, and now obviously you're in the current season. It's just incredible longevity, but you've seen this same evolution of the show around you. I wonder what are the most striking changes that you've seen as a participant going back to when you first stepped foot on that island to where we are today?
I think kind of like Jeff said, I see the view of it. When I watch it back now, I can feel that immersement. I can see my children can almost feel what I'm feeling when they see me dirty. They can actually see the sand and the grime on me, knowing that I slept just right there in the middle of the camp. And just like Jeff said, I met people years ago. One of the contestants are on the show right now. I met him 8 years ago. He was a teenager trying out at an open call, and now he's on season 50. So seeing and just meeting people who were like, oh, I was 5 years old when I started watching you, and I'm like, ooh, the girl's getting old. But yeah, it's an awesome family show. It's an awesome organization to be a part of, and to evolve with it has been more than my heart could have imagined.
It's incredible, and Jeff just spoke about the family element of the show and the direction it's taken. I read a few weeks ago that as part of this production on the island, there's like 1,000 people involved in this, which feels to me, especially with the evolution, someone like yourself, Cirie, coming in and out and just seeing the changes of the people around this over the years, that connectivity. I just wonder if you can talk about that experience. The vast majority of television is created in your traditional studio setup. That's obviously not what you have on the island. I wonder if you can talk about how that climate, that atmosphere that you create for production translates to that family feel that obviously you're trying to put on the screen every week. Cirie, I wonder if you can tell us about that environment as a participant. You step on that island for the first time. I mean, what is this like?
When I started my first season, there were people who were on the island with me. Well, there was a person in particular who was an island interviewer or producer. Right? And now he's the executive producer. So I've actually watched guys go from being part of the camera crew, holding the light thingy that they make me look great with, and now they're cameramen themselves. And I see their children there, especially with season 50. We saw so many children from so many of the production team that we grew up with. I grew up on this show. I grew up with these, all of the staff on the show, and I see this one who's gotten married and had a baby, and Mac has his daughter there, and you just see all the future Survivor players or the future Survivor staff on the island with you. It's amazing to see and amazing to be a part of.
So, Cirie, walk us through what makes you decide in the first instance, back 20 years ago, to give it a go on this show. Who are you at that time, and how did you get drawn into this in the first place?
I am a fan of the show. I watched Richard Hatch do his thing, like Jeff said, and after I watched season after season, and I'm saying, no, don't say that. Oh, I can't believe you said that. I wouldn't say that. I'm gonna go on this show. And back then, the application was like this. And I would download the application, the time would run out, I didn't go, but then the universe aligned. I was kind of like looking at my life, I was 35 years old, and seeing all the adventure that's happening on television, I wanted a piece of it. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna just try. And I went to an open call, and the universe decided that they should pick me, and I got a call a week later. And the funniest thing, though, is once I got the call and I finished finals and they invited me to the show, then I got a panic attack like, oh God, what did I do? Oh my God. And the rest is history.
And then what draws you back in multiple times? I mean, for me as a viewer, and I'm sure everyone around the room is going to shake their head at this, I would see that as an experience that if you actually got me out there on that island, the entire time I'm there, I'm thinking, please get me out of here alive, and if you can do that, I'm never coming back, I promise, right? So tell me what draws you to do that time and time again.
Oh, it's just like I said in the intro. Every time I go, I get something different.
Yeah.
It's a journey, it's an adventure. I learn something new about myself. I get to challenge myself in a new way, and I get to do all of this in front of my children and grandchildren. And I get to inspire them to know that no matter what, as long as you don't give up, the world is your oyster, and look what happened with me in Survivor.
Jeff, how are we doing with your audio?
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Great.
Jeff, you've had 25 years of working very closely with all these incredible participants, but let's turn the tables a little bit. How would you do as a participant on this show? I'm sure you have thought as you've walked through all these challenges. There are some I'm sure that you're very passionate about, and others that you just say, I'm not sure this would have been the right season for me. Tell me how you think about yourself as a participant, and then I want Cirie's opinion on Jeff.
Yeah, I want to hear Cirie's too. Truthfully, it is a bummer that I don't ever foresee a day where I would play, but I think I'd be okay early. I've learned enough watching people play to know when to back up and just go with the flow a little bit, but at a certain point, I'm going to press my foot on the pedal and play aggressively and either take you out or you're going to take me out. But Curtis, I was going to say, earlier, before we couldn't answer, you asked me about, the production out here. Just for perspective for everyone, we are on a tiny island in the middle of the South Pacific in Fiji. The fact that we're broadcasting at all is kind of amazing. But that, just to answer, the production out here is the magic. And I don't want to leave without saying that. I mean, we have 400 international, we have 400 Fijians. We make this show together. But when you're here, what you experience is community. We come here every year. This is where we live a good part of the year, and we make this show together, and we've had 70 babies made from people who met while working on Survivor. Talk about longevity.
Absolutely. Speaking of longevity, I think one of the incredible elements of your show and the legacy that you're manifesting here is that it speaks for itself that when it comes to reality TV, you forged an entirely new genre. But you hear content creator after content creator, whether it's Mr. Beast, whether it's some of the folks experimenting in AI, different sorts of immersive visualization, they point to your show as an inspiration. I wonder if you can speak to that, just how you look at the show's legacy when it comes to production, filmmaking, and really that audience experience, which is enduring across technologies.
Yeah, I mean, it's flattering anytime somebody references Survivor in a positive way. Like when Jimmy came out here with the Mr. Beast team, we had a blast. And he was super complimentary of how we run our show because we are a seasoned team. 2.5 decades, and a lot of those years we've all been together. We do know what we're doing, but on the flip side, Curtis, when I watched the Mr. Beast team shoot, we all talked afterwards and said, they're teaching us to remember, even though you have a good system in place or your process seems, always step back and say, are we too specific? Like, they're reckless. Mr. Beast is reckless, but it's intentional recklessness. They know what they're doing. Form follows function. Shows like Traders that are very theatrical, we learn from those. So I feel like we're all in this pool together, and we're hopefully being influenced and influencing each other in complementary ways.
Well, I think the binding element of this is storytelling, and as you put it earlier, your focus on humans. And at the end of the day, that doesn't always have to be conflict. In fact, there's something to be inspired by the communal aspects of the show. But I wonder, after 50 seasons, and for you 5 seasons, of watching people at their best and sometimes their worst, How has Survivor impacted how you view human nature, Jeff?
I hope it has made me more gracious with people, because any season you look at of Survivor is a timestamp of where our culture was. We did things back in season 6 that we would never do today, and we're doing things today in 50 that we wouldn't have done in season 6. That goes for me too. We are a live, unscripted show. I've never had a cue card or an earpiece or anything. So sometimes I say things that I look back on and go, hey man, you handled that okay. Other times I go, oh my God, what were you thinking? So I have to be generous of spirit with myself. And what I realized on this show is, on any given day, anybody can amaze themselves, but you gotta get in the game to have a shot. You gotta be in the arena. And if you're gonna be in the arena, you're gonna get bloody, you're probably gonna fail. But man, you're bloody in the mud of adventure. And so it reminds me, we're all trying. We're all trying to figure it out. And I just hope it's given me more patience with each other.
Cirie, would love to get your perspective on that, of someone who has been in the middle of the very best and at times the worst.
I think, kind of like Jeff says, it makes you kind of take a step back and show yourself some grace. And when you see the community of Survivor, especially when someone's struggling, and I've been on the struggling end quite a few times, and to see people who are playing and vying for $1 million prize forget about that in the moment and just become a community for you.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of Survivor.
Incredible. Well, Jeff, we know that your schedule is very demanding right now, and we asked a lot of you, especially with the time change here, for you to join us this morning. But before we wrap and give you your day back, you're on site right now for season 51, and I can imagine that's incredibly busy, but somehow you've made time to write a book, Survivor Forged by Fire. Wondering if you can tell us a little bit about that book.
Yeah, that was a collaboration primarily with our DP, Scott Duncan. And what we wanted to do was create a book, not a memoir or anything like that, but a visual exploration of what it's like to be on Survivor. And Scott and his team went through like 1 million photographs, and we picked 1,000, pretty much photographs nobody's ever seen. And it takes you on this hero's journey. If you're the player, this is what happens. Here's your arrival. Here are the tests you're going to encounter. Here's your final threshold, and here's your return home. And so far, especially the kids that have seen it, seem to be digging it, because it's a kind of book where you want to touch it. There's some diary entries. I kept a diary in the first season, which was crazy to look back on. And so we included stuff like that, and really proud of the book. But honestly, Curtis, Survivor's never been about selling a mug or selling a t-shirt or anything like that. It's about connecting with our fans. And that was the purpose behind the book, and that's the purpose behind every intention we make on the show. You said we're shooting 51 right now. 50 is an incredible finish. I'm already pumped about 51. We're a few days in, and I'm going, oh my God, we got something going on again. How does this keep happening?
Well, the fans in this room cannot wait to experience the end of 50 as well as 51. We also have a treat for a few of you. We have several copies of Jeff's book underneath a few seats in the room. So I'd ask everyone to take a look underneath your seat. And if you've got a copy of that book, let's stand up. All right, I found one. All right. Well, we might need to dig a little bit deeper here, but Jeff, I want to say thank you again. It really has been incredible to spend time with you, Cirie. Congratulations again to Survivor. You all are a testament to the very best of television and broadcast, and it's an absolute privilege to have this moment to recognize you. Let's give them both a round of applause.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Cirie.
Thank you, Jeff. I love you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you all for joining us as we kick off this amazing week at the NAB show. Before you head out, I'd like to remind you to join us back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the We Are Broadcasters celebration, where we will honor the Engineering Achievement Award winners and present the Television Chairman's Award, as well as do a Q&A with comedian Nate Bargatze. And make sure to check out all of the latest and greatest on the NAB show floor and across our programming. Enjoy the rest of your day.